Hi everyone, I welcome you all to our tech podcast series. And now we come up with so amazing podcasts, right? You have seen a lot of podcasts of ours. It should be about MVPs, it should be about MVPs or amazing entrepreneurs. So now talking about the today's podcast, how we're going to start. So first of all, I'm Chavi, your podcaster of the day, and we have a very special guest with us. We have Anand with us, who is currently the head of business excellence in NittyGritti, and he would be talking about a lot of stuff about how to identify a technology and how he actually started his steps and how he actually stepped into the technology part. So with that thing, I would be very happy to welcome Anand to our tech podcast series. Hi Anand, how are you doing?
I'm good, Chavi. Thank you for having me here. It's a delight.
I am also grateful for that. Now, first of all, would love to know how you actually stepped into the technology, because when I was like uh, reading about you, I came to know that okay, you were not a tech person from the very start. So, would love to know how you started and how it is for you in the present time.
I don't know if there is anybody on this planet today who says he doesn't use technology or doesn't know which technology to use for what, right? It's so omnipotent, it is so ubiquitous, you just can't escape technology anymore, right? But I think I had the fortune of having been exposed to the right kind of technologies in many aspects, right? In my advertising days, one of my largest clients was Intel. So my journey in my advertising career, my understanding of technology grew along with the number of processors Intel launched. So I understood everything starting from a Celeron all the way to what was then, the cutting edge in wireless technology and all of it, Centrino and so on and so forth. So I had no choice but to keep myself abreast of technology. And if I had to work with a client like Intel, I'd very well be good about what I do know about the business, right? But that got us thinking in many ways, Chavi. But coming to where we are today, to be running a business that has pegged itself on technology as a platform, this happened during COVID. We are NittyGritti is a brainchild that came to shape just at the peak of COVID, when everybody else was shutting down and looking at salary cuts and all of that. We were looking at an opportunity, and what was the opportunity? Is that people were buying online without realizing that there was a lot more that brands could do in the online space. We realized that in an immense market like e-com, where everything is about speed and scale, if you need to do anything, you want to touch e-com, you need to think speed and scale. And that is not the role of a human intervention process. It is a technology intervention process that can do it. So we knew the problem, and we knew only technology could solve it. And that's how we sort of molded ourselves to understanding technology better and seeing how which technology can help us solve business problems. That makes sense?
Exactly. That was amazing, and the journey was fabulous indeed. Now, moving with that, first of all, would love to know what is technology to you, because I want to understand how to add. Because right now in the present time, we have so many technologies to work on to, and it's something that we sometimes are not able to understand how to identify the best ones. So, would love to know some insights from your side.
I think we have a very, what do you call it, a dynamic approach to technology, right? Very rarely will you say, I have a problem, and is there a solution in technology available? It's never, max point to point. You'll never get it. But the idea is to say, okay, I have a business problem. How have other businesses tackled the same problem, right? It could be the aviation industry, it could be an Airbnb, it could be hospitality industry, automobile industry. All of them use technologies for different facets. And what we did at Integrity is we tried to understand how some of these businesses solve their business problems using technology. And we said, how can we adapt those learnings? And if we sort of created a simulated environment for our business problems, we actually learned from the same technologies that they used. So it's more adaptive rather than trying to find a perfect fit.
That's true. And also, when it comes to technology, right now everyone is talking about artificial intelligence. So, would love to know that how artificial intelligence is growing these days, and any blooming trends that you want to talk about.
I think the starting point for me is I refuse to accept that artificial intelligence was really artificial. I used to call it outsourced intelligence, which means you actually teach a machine to do a lot of thinking at a speed and the way in which a human brain can't really, literally, right? So it didn't do anything artificially. It first created something that was optimal because that's what we wanted. We wanted a bigger brain, faster brain, super brain that could do a lot of things that we couldn't do. So we outsourced that thinking to a machine. And because it happened outside the human body, we called it artificial intelligence. And I'm happy to adopt that word and we will use it because everybody speaks artificial intelligence. Nobody calls it outsourced intelligence, right? But so let's stick to that. To me, artificial intelligence is probably what mobiles were 15 years ago or 20 years ago. That's going to be what's going to be taking over our lives very soon, right? It could be replacing writers, it could be replacing even photographers, it could be replacing image creators, it could be probably, it's already replacing drivers, writing cars, and so on and so forth. So I think we should be ready for a world where that kind of thinking and that kind of intelligence is going to decide what you and I will be doing. Right? I'm sure 2 years down the line, when you do my next podcast with you, you'll probably say, you know what, Anand, this blue shirt doesn't look good on my podcast. Can I just create a plugin and change it to a green kurta? And I think you will do it. Right? To me, that is the extent to which we will start deciding on a lot of things. And the reason I believe a business needs to be built on artificial intelligence is nothing else is going to change the speed at which we can think and deploy solutions that we want across sectors and verticals. So to me, I'm on the constantly looking out for who's doing what and how we can bring it in. There are so many beautiful ideas out there and so many failed ideas. I'm so excited by the failed ideas because that's just kicking up people to say, next time I can't fail and I'm going to learn from my failures. So I've been tracking a lot of those. I think we're getting into a space where AI is going to be the next microwave oven in our lives.
That's pretty much true. And also, right now, everyone is talking about artificial intelligence. So, obviously, it's booming in that way. And also, like, artificial intelligence is something which is a very broader, obviously, domain. In that case, how it was a really great thing for your company. Would love to know some insights on that, how AI is working for your company, and how technology has been helping you throughout your whole way.
Like I said, right, what are we doing? We are in the business of optimizing catalogs and brands put out on a platform like Amazon, right? And what are we talking about? We're talking of close to a billion and a half products that are out there on the marketplace, right? And if I have to build a solution that can appeal to the entire universe of a billion, there is nothing that I can do without technology, nothing I can do without AI, right? It's inevitable. There's just absolutely no way. There isn't a second thought about it. So we wanted to look for solutions that could sort of fall in line. And what did we want? We could have looked for a solution that fitted almost to the glove, but we wouldn't have found it. So what we did was we broke down the problem into smaller chunks and said, can each of these problems can be solved by a very different AI machine, right? So we said, let's look at images separately, let's look at text separately, let's look at the compliance separately, let's look at all the rule engines separately. And now what we had is, it's literally like building a compartment. You had a engine, then you had three compartments, and then you had a pantry car, and then you had a last guard van, right? And when you put them all together, they were all running on the same track. So we built a train of thought, actually, literally saying, what do we want the first engine to be, which is the one that's going to drive the thinking? And then those 3-4 compartments that we had to stitch together in the right sequence. And because they all had to be fed with data, we created the pantry compartment. And then now we said, chalo lagao, so that it started going along the track. So I think our ability to break down a problem into mini problems or sub problems and then find a solution platform or a solution environment, the ecosystem came together and we were able to take it forward as a stitched solution.
That was actually nice, and I really loved the way you actually inculcated everything in just one way. That was really insightful. And also, with that note, I wanted to understand one thing that over these years you have been into the technology and into the entrepreneurship so much. So what are the three things that you have learned in, like, when it comes that, okay, you have to keep yourself updated with the trends, how you stay updated with these trends, what have you learned, the Any three pointers that you want to share with the audience?
Well, first is I think I used Twitter well. I think at a time when it was fashionable to be following 20,000 people and looking at how many followers they had, etc., I wasn't really there to gain followers. I'm not some Swamiji who needed so many followers, right? But I handpicked about 30, 35 different people who were following some big technology trends. And by following them, I was able to just keep an eye on just 30 people who are posting about these regularly. So these 30 into 10 gave me about 300 different insights on technologies day in and day out. Otherwise, I would have had to follow so many technologies, so many companies, so many people. I just handpicked these people who were, so to me, they were like creating the universe of information that I wanted. So they were my librarians, right? So that's the first thing I did. Second thing I did was I never let the concept of age come in the way of technology. Right? As you grow older, I'm now 56. The tendency, and I had a intern that I was talking to, and she said, "You know what, Anand? There is this thing called Insta, and this is what we do on Insta." And she was completely decisive that at my age I wouldn't be on Insta. Right? She came back to me 2 weeks later saying, "Shit, what did I even tell you? I didn't know that you've been active since the day Insta was launched in India." Right. And I did this when I became a LinkedIn subscriber when it was launched. I actually logged out for 2 years because there was nobody else from India on LinkedIn. And then suddenly, when people started talking about, I said, "Shit, I remember creating some account. I must go back." By then, it had become a sizable one, not as big as it is today. But I think it's important to stay connected on any technology platform or solution that comes. The moment you cut off, saying, "I won't understand this" or "I don't know what this is," then I think you will sort of start losing that battle of knowledge. We're all fighting a battle of knowledge. How much do we want to know, and how much can we really know? And if you don't have that aspect, so I think it's important, extremely important, to be abreast of more about technology than movies and Hollywood and sports and politics and cinema and all of that. So that's the second thing, right? Never lose touch, never think you're old for any technology. And I think I got inspired. Somebody like even my mother-in-law at 85, 82, she used to pick up her Android tablet and she knew exactly how to manage her ICSA bank account, or the way she played her games, the way she was interacting with her sisters at 80. So to me, I think those are inspiring stories. That's the second thing. Right? And the third, I think, which is the most important part, is try learning about the technology you actually use in everyday life. If you think that I didn't develop this Android phone or I didn't do this iOS, that somebody else who built it, I'm only a user, then you are a dummy. You just programmed to use it. But if you got into it saying, "How the hell is this able to pick up a voice command and convert it into an impulse that can switch on a tube light in my house?" If you just spend some time, then you'll realize that you could adapt that technology to put into work somewhere else. The moment you shut it away and only become a user, then I think we become programmed zombies, which I've always not wanted to be. I always wanted to be the one who's controlling zombies, not become the zombie myself.
That was so true. I can totally feel to these things. Okay, now moving with that, like this one thing now comes that what are your roles? Okay, now whenever we talk about companies, we talk about the head positions. Many people think that okay, what are they doing? They are just managing things. It's not that they are not doing. They are doing something really great. So wanted to understand that what are your roles, how it goes. Is it like you're just managing few things, or is it's more than it?
Well, I wish it was as simple as that. It'd be a lot, it'd be a cakewalk, and I don't have to spend the 18 hours that I spend working today, right?
Yeah, like
Uh,
people used to think that when you go to the senior positions, there is less work that you have to do. It's more like just commanding the staff. What it is actually at current position.
yeah, I don't think any senior person thinks that way. A lot of people down the line have the impression that when you're a CEO, you're actually playing golf and letting somebody else run your business. I don't think it's true, right? As a founder, though we are a startup, and having worked for close to 30, 32 years, I still put in about 16 to 18 hours of work time a day, right? And it's not 16, 18 hours of commanding people to do what they should be doing. It is 16, 18 hours of taking commands from people who want me to do something, right? So the work never stops. And I think if you ask me these three questions about technology, if you ask me saying what keeps me energized today, I think the excitement of doing things yourself and a lot of stuff that you could have otherwise outsourced is gives me that learning and gives me that impetus to keep doing things. It's absolutely enjoyable doing all the time done. So I don't 18 hours later I don't feel tired and saying shit I never thought this day would ever end. Kind I actually say no, I can't wait to start work next day again. So that it's a constant burst of energy, and I don't think I would lose that out for a long, long time, right? But if you go back to the question you asked, right, when you're building a startup, when you're building a tech platform, I was telling a friend about 3 days ago, we were going live with a new dashboard, with a new platform, and a new website all at the same time. So I was actually handling anywhere between 11 to 40 different partners all at the same time, right? Now that's not easy, and but it's not a pain. It's enjoyable experience because you're seeing different facets of people. You're seeing how the most well-planned organization suddenly let their guard on something. You find how the smallest, youngest person in a team came up with the brightest idea. There are so many beautiful moments to enjoy in spite of these pressures. And I think, and if you identify those sparks, and that's what we did, my partner Nikita and I were saying, who are those people who are showing those sparks of intelligence at the maximum pressure moment? Those are the ones we want to invest in. Those are the people we want to build. Those are the people we want to help us grow. So I think we learned along these lines. And but had we taken a very hands-off experience saying we have outsourced it, I paid him, they will deliver this on 18th. Till then, I will go on a holiday during New Year and come back. No, it doesn't work. So we put in absolute hands-on effort every minute of the day to build something that we are supremely proud of, and fortunately got endorsed by some very, very respected people in the business.
That was so amazing. And with that note, thank you so much, Anand, for joining in. And the things that we discussed were so insightful, and I'm pretty much sure the viewers also loved it. And also, I have like shared Anand's socials in the description below. You can have a look into it, do a conversation with him. You will surely gonna love it. And also, with that note, I would just say one thing, that yes, identifying a technology might be a difficult task, but you will slowly learn it, and it will surely be very much easy for you in your future.
Thank you, Chari.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you. And we will surely be coming up with such amazing podcasts super soon. Till then, stay tuned. Bye bye.